I recently surveyed some developers, some product owners, members of a Scrum team to ask them what they think about the daily Scrum, and honestly, I got mostly criticism. Some of the main points: people don't understand the start time. Some of the members of a Scrum team joined the meeting late. We are unaware of a sprint goal. 15 minutes window is not allowing me to discuss my problems on the task aligned. Why do I have to report the progress of my task to the Scrum Master and the product owner? Can't they just take the status update from Jira? I'm spending almost 30 to 45 minutes every day in the meeting where I've shared my status in like 2 minutes, but still I have to wait till the meeting is over so I can get back to work. Why can't we just use a tool to automate this meeting or just send a status email every morning? Quite interesting feedback. It seems that a lot of people believe that the daily Scrum is a waste of time. That's their experience of a daily Scrum. And today I want to talk about 3 things that indeed make the daily Scrum a waste of time. And most Scrum teams do these. Let's start with the 3 questions. You know, the classic 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? Any blockers? These questions haven't been in a Scrum guide for the past 7 years. Yeah. 7 years, and most teams still use these questions and haven't been in the Scrum guide for a good reason. These questions were too prescriptive and misused by many teams. The result, a daily Scrum that looks like a status meeting. Everyone coming and giving the status of what they are currently working on to the Scrum Master, to the product owner. So if your daily Scrum looks like a status meeting, there's an opportunity to improve here. Don't get me wrong, I've never said that these 3 questions were useless. No, far from that. Very important 3 questions, extremely useful 3 questions that you should be asking yourself every single day. Powerful questions. The misuse of these questions during the daily Scrum, that's the wrong part. This part is not right, and there's an easy fix for that. The fix is even mentioned in the previous version of the Scrum guide with the 3 questions, but people ignore it. You just need to rephrase the 3 questions as they originally were meant to be said. What did I do yesterday to progress towards the sprint goal? What will I do today to progress towards the sprint goal? Anything blocking me, preventing me from progressing towards the sprint goal? Adding the sprint goal part changes everything. It's no longer a status meeting now. It's a planning meeting, and we are planning to work together to progress towards the sprint goal, the priority of a sprint. The daily Scrum is not a status meeting. It's a planning meeting, a daily planning meeting. How can we work together? As developers, the product owner, the Scrum Master, they are not even required to join the daily Scrum. The daily Scrum is a meeting for the developers, by the developers, where they plan their day to see how we can progress towards the sprint goal. So please use these 3 questions, but use them right. Time waster. Number 2, members of the Scrum team are all working on different things. Let's read again the comment that I got from the survey. I'm spending almost 30 to 45 minutes every day in this meeting where I have shared my status in like 2 minutes, but still I got to wait till the meeting is over so that I can get back to work. Obviously, this person will be extremely frustrated. 90%, even more than 90% of the meeting irrelevant to them. Talking about things that are not relevant to this person. This person is working in complete isolation, in a silo. All their team members working in silo also. Different task. No pairing is being done. But still, they are required to share their status update during their daily Scrum. Obviously, it will be a waste of time for this person. The very first thing I would do in this scenario is explaining to the developers that it's their meeting. It's a daily planning session. It's a meeting for them, for the developers, by the developers. It's not a status update meeting. The second one, the more complicated part, is the silo part. Everyone working in complete isolation. Why is that? Observe in their sprint planning. Join their sprint planning and observe what's happening in their sprint planning, or ask them questions. Do they have a sprint goal, a common sprint goal, or individual goals? Are they estimating the work? Are the developers allowed to estimate the work? Or is the product owner, the Scrum Master, or a tech lead assigning work to the developers, estimating the work, telling them what to do and assigning work to the developers? What's happening in the sprint planning? Again, the sprint planning is a meeting where the developers have an opportunity to question the user stories, refine the user stories, estimate the user stories, and decide how are we going to build this? And agree on a sprint goal and a list of things that we believe we can complete in the sprint. We can complete in the sprint together, but that's easier said than done. I understand developers don't like working in collaboration. They don't like pairing. They like working in isolation. Yeah, that's fine. But for the greater good of a team, of your company, of a product, and for the customer, you should start pairing. T-shaped, wide range of things that you know, and deep knowledge in something. Tasks shouldn't be assigned in the sprint planning. No, all the tasks should remain in to-do. And when someone is idle, they can pick up something new if, and only if, there's no one else to help. Because getting things done is more important than starting new things. To be able to help your colleague work as a team to progress towards the sprint goal, we need to be able to work on the task together. Have knowledge, the skills, the accesses required to work on multiple user stories together. And this is not always the case. So the problem here is not the daily scrum. The problem has nothing to do with daily scrum. It's the structure of a team. It's how you do the sprint planning, how you run your sprint. That's the problem. That's where you need to fix the issue. If you want more details on how to do that, watch this video right here. Time waster number 3, the waterfall syndrome. You're saying that you moved away from the waterfall model, cascading waterfall model. You know, project management. You're now using Agile. You're using Scrum, or you're using Kanban. No longer using waterfall. But still, when running your sprints, a lighter version of a waterfall. Hard to see, but it's present. Look at your Kanban board. And in development column, in review column, test check column, ready to test, testing column, peer review column, and done column. Doesn't that look like a waterfall? 8 steps in the way. People are collaborating. Yeah, they're not working in complete isolation. They're not working in silos. They are now collaborating. But still, there's a waterfall, a lighter version of a waterfall in the sprint. And it's very easy to see when you look at the roles in the team. Front-end developer, back-end developer, a QA person. Not developers that can do everything. No, different roles. And you're waiting for your colleague to finish something for you to start your work. You start hearing things like, I can't start on that until you've deployed it to the QA environment. I haven't finished the specs for that, but maybe you can pick it up tomorrow. I wonder if we should start having a separate testing sprint after we are code complete. Again, it goes back to your structure, not your daily scrum. During the daily scrum, if the QA is telling the developers that they need to finish quick so that the QA can start their work. The problem is not the daily scrum. The problem is the structure of the team. Why do you even have a QA person? Is the QA person someone who is a specialist in testing? The only person doing testing in the team? Why is that? Why can't the developers do the testing? You can have an expert tester, but most of the developers should be also able to test. Remember, the goal is not to start everything at the same time working in parallel. No, the goal is to start one thing, complete it, and move to the next. Stop starting and start completing. That's the goal. That's how we get things done. Less work in progress. Change the structure of your team. Have a team goal, team objectives, a sprint goal, together, and see how you can change the structure of a team to stop helping each other. So that developers can develop and also test. So that multiple developers can work on the same thing until it's done. So that people don't need to wait for other people in order to start their work. You have a QA at the start of a sprint, the first 3 days doesn't do anything. Nothing to do. Because there's nothing to test. So I just wait. Idle. 3 days. And then at the end of a sprint, I'm always rushing because I have so many things to do because all the developers send their things to test at the same time. Doesn't make any sense. Change the structure of your team. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now. And I'll see you in a few seconds.